Hello, everybody. Sorry about the slight delay there. Um, Thank you for joining us for this week's AMA. We are looking forward to filling you in on some of the things that we've been working on and things we will be doing over the next week or so. As always, quite busy and lots of things going on. Herman is here and he's going to give us a update and kind of stock take on where things are with the core development of the project and what's going on strategically. So I'll introduce him now, and he'll fill us in.
Thank you, Owen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I apologize for missing last week's AMA. It was due to health reasons, but we're certainly back full swing. The main update this week and last week as well was that the bug bounty for the testnet EVM compatibility parachain has completed successfully. We'll announce a post with the winners shortly. This event allowed us, developers and team, to monitor and review the testnet's performance under real or simulated activity, which would give us a better sense of how the network would perform once launched on mainnet. We made the necessary adjustments, if any were needed. We did notice a few minor fixes to make, but otherwise there was no major flaw, certainly none that would impede the mainnet release of code as is, plus minor improvements onto mainnet in a short order. Now, I'm ready to commit within a 4-week period. The EVM parachain, EVM compatibility parachain will be deployed on mainnet. This is largely in line with our original estimations of 6 weeks after the bug bounty end. And so far, we're pretty satisfied with both the performance of the bug bounty and the community at large in its assistance toward it, and in our ability to deliver this product in a timely manner. Now, the next steps are the use of this EVM compatibility parachain for some minor additions to the Cherry ecosystem. Core-wise, we'll announce exactly what these are. I think we'll have a ported version of Searlink for liquid staking that's more native than it is now. We'll certainly have the bridge operating. I think the original estimation was between 2 and 4 weeks after launch on mainnet, and other of these minor toolings of this sort. Together with what was mentioned so far, we're also working on a wallet that is compatible with both native substrate networks and addresses and the EVM compatibility ones. Will also allow you to transfer tokens between parachains and relay chain, as well as from the EVM compatibility parachain into the EVM palette, and thus from your substrate parachain address into your virtualized, abstracted Ethereum address you'd control through MetaMask, and as many of you have, quite simply at that, simply connecting to the EVM compatibility parachain RPC. That's it of the core updates. I did have some other minor notes planned for last week. I think to stay in line with the goal of these AMAs nowadays, which is to deliver a short form synthesized updates of what the team has been working on so far and intends to work on over the next few weeks. I will reserve these other news and these other comments that, unfortunately I share every so often on these AMAs, but do take over 10 minutes, and I'll share these by text maybe on Twitter or some other form of the sort, maybe tomorrow. With that, thank you all. Again, apologies for missing last week's AMA. It's always very happy to. It's always very important, I'd say, for me and for the team to participate in these AMAs and address the community, your concerns, as well as your questions and hopes. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. Fantastic and great to hear, as always, the good progress that's being logged by the developers. It sounds like there's a pretty, kind of productive few weeks planned. I think that when EVM is fully rolled out and the other things that you mentioned launched, it'll really put the project in a good position to attract more and more interest from both developers, potential partners, and of course, new investors, large and small. So that's great to hear. I wanted to give a brief update further to some of the things I spoke about last week. One thing that we've been focusing on over the past fortnight, or 10 days fortnight, is multiple events that we've attended, private and public, mostly around Western Europe, where we've spoken to some people that have been interested in working with Cherry, Web3 professionals, whether they be involved in some of the established projects, but also developers, smaller developers, who nonetheless present a huge degree of potential. We've all heard about the anecdotes of these small scale tinkerers that end up starting initiatives, tech initiatives of ultimate, considerable importance. So we're happy to be able to talk to those people, and we're going to continue doing that over the next, I'd say, 6 weeks as this new degree of activity that Herman discussed is rolled out. I think that when EVM is fully launched on mainnet, we are hoping to have kind of achieved enough strong business development to be able to immediately attract the interest of developers from various kind of sub-industries in Web3. So that'll be quite exciting, and that's in tandem with the more hands-on partnerships that we've been discussing and working on for a while now. So what we'll do also is, as I mentioned last week, over the next few weeks, I would probably guess that we'll have an event in September. People are back from the summer holidays, etc. So we'll have a good event then. I'll try and make it more kind of hands-on as opposed to some of our previous events, which is more just a meet and greet kind of thing. We'll try and make it more meaty in terms of the content discussed, and also participative if possible. Now, I'm not saying that these things will necessarily be a hackathon. We will do those as well, but for the first round of events, there'll be kind of meetups, but more constructed meetups, I would say. So that'll be quite fun. As Herman told us about, there are obviously big things going on with regards to EVM, etc., the improvements to staking, etc. So it's a good time for us now to send out more newsletters and investor letters. The investor letters go out to our the bigger investors, more institutional tier investors, but I can share some of the things that we talk about in those as well. So you can expect that within the next, I would say, 2 weeks, maybe sooner. And they're always a good opportunity for us to kind of give you guys a pulse check on where the project is and what's planned in the near future. We kind of already do this in the AMAs, but it's better to be able to just put it down on paper. It also kind of increases transparency and accountability to a certain degree, because then we're making a commitment to do these things that are written down in text, in bullet points, whatever, in the newsletter. So that's kind of cool as well. As Herman said and explained better than I would, the bug bounty is coming to a close. So within the next couple of days, I think we'll have the winners announced for that. So that'll be good. There's also been we had some discussions about some of the ecosystem projects, such as Seedling and Cherish and others, over the past couple of days in the chat. It wasn't really a good opportunity today, as Herman said, to elaborate on those because we're kind of behind time already. So I'm going to get those addressed in the next few days. Ecosystem questions about ecosystem projects will be discussed. We'll discuss them in the chat. Herman and Buer will probably join in. And or maybe they'll be addressed on Twitter as well. So just to let you know, just because we aren't answering them now, it doesn't mean that we're pretending that they go away. Obviously, we have to answer these questions and discuss these things and give updates sooner or later, because it just doesn't work, and we don't want to just ignore these. Some of them are optimistic or just curious questions, and some people have concerns. But don't worry, as always, we're trying to work with the overall integrity and continued health of the ecosystem at heart. So yes, of course, we have our eye on the ball on those things, and we'll discuss it again soon. And then finally, in terms of marketing activity, we have some cool content coming out next week. So I'll give you some ideas about what that is closer to the date. We're not going to blast everything out all at once. That's not a very good idea. We want to, as you guys have said, there has been, since we've been so busy with other stuff, there has been a slight, a considerable, kind of lower rate of marketing that we've been doing over the past few months. So it's better to ramp that up slowly. Well, not too slowly, don't worry, but slowly enough so that we can start to build momentum, as opposed to just dropping everything into an empty room, so to speak, all at once. So next week we'll have some cool content that you guys can take a look at. And that will be, as I said, that'll be kicking off in the next few days. I might try and give you more details about that in the chat over the next few days anyway. Aside from that, just on more practical details, our merchandising partner was away on holidays because it's the holiday in their part of the world, which I wasn't aware of. So a couple of people have been waiting for shipments for the merch stuff. I'm going to get back to them in the next by Friday at the latest. So sorry for the delay on that. And otherwise, I'm going to hand you over to John now, and John is going to follow up with this week's quiz. He's got a good quiz prepared for you, and I will speak to you guys in the chat. Any questions, as always, you can either drop them in the chat and tag me, or it's sometimes better if you want to elaborate in more detail, or we want to talk in more detail, then it's always easy to just send me a DM on. You can send me a DM on Telegram, on Discord, or even on Twitter if you prefer that. I think you all know my @, so you can find me on Twitter pretty easily that way. So thank you very much for joining in, guys. All steady work going on our side. We're glad to be able to share these things with you. Over the next few days, as I mentioned, we'll have more discussions. Herman's going to be giving more updates very soon. The bug bounty winners are going to be announced. We've got more content coming out next week. So it's going to start kicking off now, thankfully, and we're glad for your continued support, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you, as always. So I'm going to leave you now with John. Thank you for joining in, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers.